And so, dear hearts, moving right on into this month and our focus on the basic fundamental principles of science of mind and spirit, I'm knowing that each and every one of us is endeavoring to really get more deeply and fully on the inside of what it is to be a student of life, a student of spirit. What it is to be here in this room right now when we could be anywhere. What brings some of us here? And always the sum of us, no matter whether the house is bulging to capacity, the sum of us is always the few of us. And sometimes it's not easy to keep up the momentum, to keep up the enthusiasm, to keep up the curiosity, to keep up the endeavor, to keep up the exploration. And yet that's what it's all about. You and I are explorers. Like Dora the explorer. And she had an indomitable spirit. Exploring what? This thing called life, yes. But what is this thing called life? It's your life. It's your life. And it's you knowing the greater aspect of that life. So exciting, really. All right, so. Apparently, when we're children, we ask about 70 to 100 questions at least a day. And as adults, probably around 20. And usually those 20 questions we ask are very limited questions to do with this and that and the other. What time is supper? Etc. But the little ones are full of curiosity. And that's because they're still full of awe and wonder. How is your awe and wonder doing at the moment? Where does it tip on the scale? And that awe and wonder is the driving force that makes us really engage constantly in peeling away the layers of ourselves. See, what it does, this thing called life, this thing called spirit, this thing called truth, is it keeps exploring. It's a creative process. And it keeps peeling away and peeling away and peeling away the layers to everything, so that we get nearer and nearer and nearer and nearer that gem, the kernel at the center of all of that. And you and I have to avoid so many distractions in order to be really committed to that process. And yet, what a worthwhile thing that is. So, how indeed do we become more of ourselves in practice? Because this exploration on planet Earth is simply the exploration back into the truth of ourselves, back into the wholeness of ourselves. And it really hasn't got anything to do with getting and spending, collecting, distracting ourselves with the flimsy toys, sparkly things that catch our consciousness on this plane. And that is why, in many cultures, when the elders reach a certain stage in their lives, they kind of withdraw, retire from the usual busyment of the embodiment, and they spend a lot of time in spiritual practice, in contemplation and meditation. And they're not the religious groups, they're just regular lay folk. But that's just the culture. That's what you do. You have time then to take care of spirit. Although we can do that all the time. That was a nice punctuation. It happens in many different ways. Nevertheless, we're always getting it. It's like I was listening to a meditation as I was falling asleep last night. And the voice is very soothing and says, even if you fall asleep, you'll still hear the voice of this guidance and blah, 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 blah. I said, okay, I'm good with that. But we are great mesmerists. Have you noticed that? We mesmerize ourselves. Oh, it's amazing what we can convince ourselves of. We're great storytellers. And we tell ourselves more stories than anything else. Because we live in a plane of distraction. I mean, I'm not saying that the distractions are not all, miserable by any manner or means. There's some very great fun in distractions, but nevertheless, they are distractions. Eye on the prize. Stay centered in the awareness that I'm here to do something, realize something. And to keep with that program as the seminal program in my life on this plane. That doesn't mean you and I can't have great fun and play. We can, of course. All of this life is Leela. It's the play of spirit in form. So what does the message today have to do with me personally, right here and right now? Well, it's just a reminder, that's all. Do you remember? Do you remember? Do you remember? Is what it's asking. Do you remember that you are the portal through which infinite spirit is conveyed on this plane, and that your only job is to be that? Just simply be a clear channel of amazing grace. And just by doing that, everything works out. Everything works out. Each one of us is the embodiment of the creator of our being. And as Ernest Holmes says, the day will come when everybody will self-realize. Everybody. Without exception. And remember, there is no time in eternity. There is no time in this spiritual realm. That's a human construct. So as much as we may seem to be not getting there, and it not happening, it is, and we are getting there. Because we have all the time in eternity. And in eternity, time is one, just one present, eternal moment. Now, I don't pretend to understand it fully by any manner or means, but I kind of get a bit of it. And I get a little more and more of it the more I want to, the more I have the desire to, because that's everything. The desire is everything. What keeps you curious? What keeps you engaged? What keeps you exploring? See, that's what infinite intelligence does. It's engaged. It keeps pushing the boundaries, providing opportunities for more and more to be revealed in life and through our lives. So, how are you doing with that sense of being a great explorer? How connected are you with that? And how excited are you every day when you wake up? Woo, another day. Let's see what I can dig up today. You're not going to be like that if you don't stay connected to your source consciously, if you don't have a relationship with your source. There'll be many boring days, I can tell you. Many difficult days, many challenging days, many questioning days. But if you stay with that inner awareness that out of all of the bazillions of possibilities, I came into being as the outlet to Spirit's amazing grace. Nothing else. Just to be an outlet of amazing grace. And I wouldn't have to do anything other than that. And to do that, what I have to do is to really be aligned with an understanding of what love is, what light is, what life is, and what my place in it all is. So I don't have to worry about changing the world, saving the world, making a big impact on the world. Those are for the people who are seeking what they think they haven't got. Now, we're not always going to be at this point of remembrance. It'll come and it will go, depending upon how distracted we are, depending upon how caught up we are in the outer things of life, depending upon how much